All right, get ready to dive deep because today it's all about physical security.
Oh, yeah?
We're going to be looking at Chapter 10 of the CISSP Study Guide,
Oh, my.
the 10th edition that just came out for 2024.
Hot off the press.
CISSP, of course, is Certified Information Systems Security Professional, kind of the gold standard.
Absolutely.
And this chapter is fascinating. So
Oh, it is.
we're going to try to unpack it here and give you some
Yeah.
key takeaways.
The need to know stuff.
Without, like, totally
Yeah,
drowning you in it.
absolutely. And you know what's interesting is how right out of the gate, they're like, forget about your fancy firewalls.
Right?
If somebody can just walk in and take your server,
Yeah.
it's game over. And that's a good point that they make,
Yeah.
that physical security is the foundation
Yeah.
of your whole security setup.
Absolutely. I mean, they even give this chilling anecdote.
Sure.
Is someone gets physical access to your equipment, like it's
It's all over.
over destruction, disclosure, data leaks.
All of the above.
All of it.
And even worse, think about sabotage.
Right.
Disruption of critical services, employees, people getting hurt.
Yeah.
Like the ripple effects are massive.
So you're in charge of security at your company. Like,
Right.
what do you even do?
Where do you start?
How do you even begin to plan?
Well, they talk about this concept of critical path analysis.
Okay.
So you need to figure out, like, what are your critical assets, right?
Yeah.
Your servers, your data center, your network, all that.
Yeah.
And then, like, literally map out
Yeah.
every single thing that supports it. The
Okay.
power, the
Yep.
cooling, even just, getting into the building,
I see.
everything that
Yeah.
supports it.
So it's not just about protecting the crown jewels. It's
It's the whole chain.
all the links in the chain. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
Imagine this, like some hacker
Uh-huh.
remotely disables your AC in your server room.
Uh-huh.
Suddenly, all the servers overheat. The database crashes.
Right.
Your whole online store goes down.
Yeah.
Critical path analysis is meant to help you figure that out
To prevent that.
and prevent it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That domino effect.
Single point of failure, yeah.
Exactly.
That's scary.
And that actually brings us to another point they made
Okay.
about site selection.
Okay.
So it turns out picking a place for your business or your data center
Right.
is not as simple as just finding the cheapest rent.
Well, yeah, location.
Right.
What are some of the things you need to consider?
Well, visibility, first of all.
Okay.
Do you want to be like a landmark that everybody knows?
Right.
Or do you want to be more low-key?
Yeah.
Kind of depends on your business.
Right. Like a retail store
Yeah,
versus,
exactly.
yeah, like a research lab or something.
Exactly. And then there's this concept of like industrial camouflage.
Okay.
So like they actually talk about
Uh,
sensitive facilities, data centers that are disguised.
Wait, hold on. Are you telling me that there are data centers out there that are like disguised as like a food processing plant?
Oh, yeah.
What?
It happens.
That's awesome.
Right. If you are a cyber criminal,
Right.
you're not going to waste your time breaking into some boring factory.
Right. It's like
It's deceptive.
ultimate stealth mode.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Sure.
So what other things do you need to think about for location?
Well, proximity is a big one.
Okay.
Like, think about what's around you.
Yeah.
Are you near like a chemical plant or something, or a
Uh,
place that floods all the time?
Yeah.
How fast can the fire department get to you?
Right.
What about just like noisy neighbors
Yeah, yeah.
or a ton of foot traffic, all that kind of stuff?
It's like the whole ecosystem
It is the whole ecosystem.
around your building.
And speaking of the building,
Okay.
there's this whole thing called CPTED,
Okay.
which is crime prevention through environmental design.
Okay, now we're getting into like the psychology
Yeah.
of security.
Yeah.
So what is this CP-TED all about?
So it's basically like you can use design to like
Right.
influence behavior and like deter crime
Yeah.
before it even happens.
Interesting.
Not just building a fortress, but like
Okay.
making it so people don't even want to commit a crime.
So give me an example.
Like they talk about low-lying shrubs so there's no place to hide.
Okay.
Clear lines of sight,
Right.
good lighting so people can see what's going on.
It's like a message like, we can see you.
Yeah, don't even try.
Don't even try it.
Or like putting benches and stuff
Uh-huh.
where people could sit and like hang out.
Right.
So it's more eyes on the street.
Yeah, that's clever.
It's like a passive security force.
Yeah, wow.
Right.
Pretty cool.
So you've got your location, you got your CP-TED design. Now what?
Now what?
Time to build your layers of defense.
Okay.
And they talk about this functional order of controls.
All right.
And it's not just about being like totally impenetrable.
Right.
It's about having a plan for like
Yeah.
every stage
Yeah.
of potential breach.
Okay, so what are the stages?
Okay, first of all, deterrence.
Okay.
You want to make your site look like it's not worth attacking.
Right.
So Think fences, gates, signs,
Cameras, yeah.
cameras. Yeah, make it look tough.
So they just go find an easier target.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if they do decide to try something, then it's denial.
Okay.
Now you're physically stopping them.
Right.
So think locks, access cards,
Yeah.
man trap.
Right, those double doors.
Exactly. Keep them out.
Yeah.
But let's say they get past that.
Okay.
Then it's detection.
Right.
You gotta know when something's up.
Uh-huh.
So motion sensors, cameras, alarms, all that good stuff.
So those are like your tripwires.
Exactly.
Okay.
You want to know when they're there.
Gotcha.
Now it's all about delay.
Okay.
You want to slow them down,
Okay.
buy yourself some time.
Right.
So reinforced doors, maze-like hallways.
Right. It's like a video game.
It is. It is.
Buying time for the heroes
Sure,
to
yeah.
get there.
Yeah, and while they're doing that, you're determining, like,
Yeah.
who are they?
Right.
What are they after?
Yeah,
How'd
yeah.
they get in?
Yeah.
And then you decide, what are you going to do?
Right.
Catch them, gather evidence, call the cops.
Yeah. Take action.
Exactly.
Wow. It's like this carefully
There's an orchestra?
orchestrated. Yeah, like a ballet. And to make that orchestra even better,
Yeah.
we got all this cool tech.
All right, let's talk about the gadgets.
Smart cards.
Okay.
Proximity readers. Intrusion detection.
It's like sci-fi.
It is.
All right, so smart cards.
Okay, so think of them as like little computers
Uh-huh.
built into a card.
Yep.
They can actually store and process information.
So it's more than just a dumb ID.
Oh, yeah. Way more.
Okay.
They can do authentication, access control,
Okay.
even secure transactions.
Wow, that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
All right, what about those proximity readers?
Oh, those are cool.
Those are the ones where, like, you just walk up and the door unlocks. Yeah, they use radio waves
Mm-hmm.
to identify you.
Okay.
Super convenient.
Yeah. No more fumbling with your keys.
Exactly.
All right, what about intrusion detection systems?
Oh, so those are like your invisible guardians. They're watching your sensitive areas.
Yeah.
They use motion detectors, door contacts, pressure plates, all sorts of stuff.
So if, like, someone steps
They'll know.
where they shouldn't,
Yeah.
the alarm goes off.
They can even be hooked up to cameras and alarms and stuff.
Well, like a whole network,
A whole system.
a whole system.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got our perimeter lockdown, we got our fancy building, but what about, like,
The heart of it all.
the server
The
room?
server room, right?
What do you got to think about for the server room?
Well, they talk a lot about location.
Okay.
No basements, no top floors.
Why not?
Floods and fires, you know.
Right.
You want it somewhere central, easy to get to,
But safe.
but protected, yeah.
Yeah.
And climate control is super important. Temperature, humidity, static, all that stuff.
They're like little divas.
They are.
Servers.
Too much or too little of anything, and they're going to fry.
What's the ideal temperature, do you know?
Well, they say between 59 and 89.6 Fahrenheit
Wow.
and 20 to 80% humidity.
It's like Goldilocks in there.
Not too hot, not too cold,
Right.
just right.
Okay, what about fire?
Ooh, fire's a big one.
Yeah.
And this is where they get into that fire triangle.
Right, yeah.
Fuel, heat, oxygen.
Okay.
You got to break that triangle.
So how do you fight fire in a server room?
Well, not just with water.
Right, because that would...
Yeah, bad idea.
Yeah.
You could use gas systems
Okay.
that, like, displace oxygen or stop the chemical reaction.
Right.
Safer for electronics.
Yeah.
And they talk about these pre-action systems, which are
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So, like, first they detect smoke or heat,
Uh-huh.
and then they fill the pipes with water.
But they don't actually...
And they don't release it until a sprinkler head hits a certain temperature.
Oh, wow.
So you're not going to get accidental damage.
It's like a safety net for your safety net.
It is, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
And then they talk about some more advanced things like
Yeah.
evidence storage and KPIs.
It gets really interesting.
Okay, so we talked about the basic protection, but how did those fit in?
Well, evidence storage.
Uh-huh.
You got to have a secure system for storing digital evidence.
Okay.
You know, logs, footage, hard drive images, all
Well,
that.
in case there's an investigation.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And KPIs.
Oh, okay.
Those are key performance indicators.
Right.
They help you measure how well your security is actually working.
Yeah. Because it's not just about
Feeling secure.
feeling secure. You
You
need
need data.
the data.
Exactly.
So like response times, false alarms, all that.
all of that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about constantly improving.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So this has been a really interesting dive into
Physical security?
physical security. We've covered a ton of ground here,
We have.
from site selection to the server room,
Yeah.
all the way through.
All the way through.
But there's even more.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to be back in just a minute
We'll be back.
to continue our exploration of physical security.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
All right, welcome back to our deep dive into physical security.
Yeah, we're ready to get tactical now.
Yeah, let's get down to the nuts and bolts.
Let's do it.
So in part one, we laid the foundation.
Yeah.
We talked about the core principles, site selection, all that.
The big picture.
Yeah, but now let's get into
Yeah, the system.
specific techniques, technologies.
Right.
So the study guide actually goes into a lot of detail about physical barriers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, fences, gates, turnstiles.
Well, all about those layers of defense.
Right.
Making it harder and harder to get to your valuable stuff.
So it's like building a fortress.
Yeah, but a modern fortress.
Yeah, with tech woven in. Let's start with the outermost layer, the fence.
The fence, yeah.
Is it as simple as just putting up a fence, or
Not really.
is there more to it?
It depends on your needs.
Okay.
Like a chain link fence might be enough to deter the casual trespasser.
Yeah.
But if you're really serious about security,
Yeah.
you're going to want something stronger,
Okay.
like taller barbed wire,
Right?
maybe even an electric fence.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you're sending a message.
Wait, is it
How
this?
serious you are.
Don't mess with us.
Yeah.
And then you got gates,
Right.
which are like controlled entry points,
Yeah.
and those need to be just as strong as the fence.
Because if you have a weak gate,
Totally. It's like having a steel door with a cardboard lock.
you're only as strong as your weakest link.
Weakest link. Yeah.
How do you make sure those gates are secure then?
Well, you can use electronic locks, keycard access,
Uh-huh.
even biometrics.
Oh, wow.
And you can hook those up to cameras,
Right.
so you can monitor them 24/7.
So it's not just about the physical barrier.
It's about the tech.
It's the whole system.
It's the whole system, yeah.
What about turnstiles?
Oh, those are cool.
Yeah, those are the things that you see in subways and stuff.
Yeah, you see them in stadiums,
You only go through one at a time.
one at a time.
How do those work for security?
Well, they prevent tailgating,
Tailgating.
where somebody tries to sneak in behind you.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah, and they can be integrated with access control.
So you have to swipe your card
Yeah, or use your biometrics,
and then you can go through.
and then you can go through.
Okay, and they talk about another kind of specialized entryway.
Oh, yeah, the man trap.
Man trap. Okay.
Sometimes they call it a person trap.
A person trap?
Yeah.
So what's that?
It's like a little room
Okay.
with two doors,
Uh-huh.
and only one door can be open at a time.
So it's like a security checkpoint.
Yeah, like a buffer zone. They got to check you out before they let you into the next area.
It's like those airlocks in sci-fi movies.
Oh, really?
Where they decontaminate you.
Exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
And speaking of authentication,
Yeah.
they go into a lot of different methods.
Okay.
Badges, smart cards, proximity devices, all that.
So let's talk about some of those authentication options,
Fine.
starting with the most basic badges.
Okay, so you got your basic photo ID badge,
Uh-huh.
which is really just visual identification.
Right.
Might be enough for low security.
But you could easily fake those.
Oh, yeah. Super easy.
Okay.
Then you got things like smart cards.
Right. Which we talked about before.
Yeah, those little computers in a card.
So how do those actually verify your identity?
Well, they can store biometrics,
Okay.
like fingerprints, iris scans.
Uh-huh.
You can even use them for multi-factor authentication.
So you need a PN in the card?
PN on the card, yeah.
Okay.
So it's not just about having it.
Right.
You got to prove your... And then you got proximity devices.
Okay, yeah. Those are cool.
Yeah, they use radio waves.
So you can just walk up.
Walk up and it unlocks.
No swiping, no keys.
No fumbling.
That's cool.
It is cool.
But are those hackable?
Well, any technology can be hacked.
Right.
If someone's determined enough,
Yeah.
you got to choose good vendors,
Right.
strong security protocols, update your systems.
Right. It's not just about buying the tech.
It's about managing the risk.
Yeah.
What about good old-fashioned keys?
Oh, yeah. Do those still have a place
Oh, yeah.
in this world?
Absolutely.
Really?
They're simple, they're reliable,
Yeah.
and they're cheap.
Okay.
Good for low security or as a backup.
Right. If the power goes out,
Exactly.
it's the right tool for the
That's
job.
the tool for the job, yeah.
So, okay. So, even something as basic as lighting.
Lighting.
Is there more to security lighting
Oh, yeah.
than just making it brighter?
Well-lit areas discourage crime,
Right?
make it harder to hide, increase the chances of being seen.
It's like you're saying, we're watching.
We're watching, yeah. And speaking of watching
Okay.
cameras, yeah,
Cameras are everywhere these days.
everywhere.
But I don't know if everybody understands,
The different types.
the different types.
And how they all work together. So you got
Mhm.
your fixed cameras.
Okay.
They just point at one spot,
Right.
like a loading dock or something.
Okay.
Then you got PTZ cameras,
PTZ.
pan tilt zoom.
Oh, right.
You can control them remotely.
So you can, like, zoom in.
Zoom in, follow somebody.
Get a virtual security guard.
It is.
That's cool.
And modern cameras can do so much more.
Yeah.
They can do facial recognition.
Wow.
They can detect weird behavior. They can even trigger alarms.
So they're, like, intelligent.
Oh, yeah. They're getting smarter all the time.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
It is. It is.
Anything else cool about cameras?
Well, some of them can see in the dark. Yeah, they use infrared or even thermal imaging.
Oh, wow.
You know, pick up heat signatures.
So you can see someone hiding in the bushes.
Exactly.
Wow.
So we got our defenses, we got access control, we got our cameras.
Yeah.
What else do we need to think about?
Well, they talk a lot about intrusion detection systems.
Right, IDS.
IDSs, yeah. Those are like the tripwires.
Tripwires, exactly.
You talked about those a little bit before.
Yeah, so they use different kinds of sensors.
Right, like motion sensors.
Motion sensors, door contacts, pressure mats, all that.
It's like a web.
A web.
Invisible web.
Around your stuff.
And you can customize them for your specific needs.
Right.
Different sensors, different responses.
So like a motion sensor in a low security area might just like
just log it.
Log it, but like a pressure mat in a vault?
That's going to trigger a full alarm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can connect all these things together.
Oh, yeah. With the cameras, the access control.
It's a whole ecosystem.
It's a whole ecosystem, yeah.
It works together.
Wow, this is starting to sound like Fort Knox.
Yeah, but what about the people?
Right, the human element.
The human element, yeah.
Like, where do security guards fit into all this?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And they say even with all this technology, people are still really important.
Okay.
They provide situational awareness.
Okay.
Decision-making.
Right.
That tech just can't do.
Right. So, like, responding to incidents.
Yeah.
Assessing threats.
Making judgment calls.
Right.
They can patrol, monitor cameras, respond to alarms.
Right.
They can even do customer service.
So they're like the eyes and ears.
And the brains.
And the brains, yeah. What about guard dogs?
Oh, those are cool.
Like, do those still have... Yeah.
Definitely. Deterrence and detection.
Okay.
Their senses are amazing.
Right.
They can smell trouble.
Yeah.
Alert the guards.
Yeah.
And they're scary.
Yeah, I bet.
Nobody wants to mess with a guard dog.
But wouldn't those be more for, like, outside?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
They can work inside, too.
Okay.
Patrolling hallways, sniffing out intruders.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're versatile.
So it's all about finding the right mix.
The right mix, yeah.
Of tech and people.
Working together.
Yeah.
And remember, physical security isn't just about keeping people out.
Right.
It's also about protecting your stuff from damage.
Okay.
We talked about fire.
Right.
But what about other things?
Like natural disasters.
Natural disasters.
Yeah.
Accidents.
Right.
They talk about temperature and humidity control.
Okay.
For sensitive equipment,
right.
Too hot, too cold, it can all cause problems.
Yeah, yeah.
And humidity can cause corrosion,
all right.
Short circuits,
yeah,
all sorts of bad stuff.
So you got to keep it, like, just right.
Just right, yeah.
Like Goldilocks.
Exactly.
Okay.
And don't forget about water.
Oh, yeah, water damage.
Leaks, floods, spills, all bad for electronics.
So how do you prevent that?
Well, keep your valuable stuff away from water sources, pipes, sprinkler systems.
Right.
Make sure you got good drainage.
Yeah.
And think about water detectors.
Okay.
So you can catch leaks early.
Yeah. It's about being proactive.
Proactive, yeah.
All right. So we've covered a lot. Yes, barriers, access control, surveillance, intrusion detection.
The whole 9 yards.
Security personnel, environmental controls.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
But it's all important.
Yeah. It all works together.
And it's different for every organization.
Right. You got to figure out your own risks.
Exactly.
And build your own strategy.
Your own fortress.
Yeah. But before we wrap up this part.
Okay.
There are a couple more things I want to touch on.
Let's do it.
So the study guide talks about protected cable distribution.
Oh, yeah, PDS.
PDS, okay.
That's about securing your cables.
Cable, like, I've never really thought about.
It's important. Cable security.
It is. Right. Why?
Well, think about it. If someone can cut your cables, they can take down your whole network.
Right.
Disable your security systems, even cause a power outage.
It's like the arteries of your business.
It is. It is.
So how do you protect cables?
Well, PDS uses conduits, alarms, other security measures to keep them safe, run them through walls, bury them underground.
Okay.
Encase them in tamper-proof stuff.
So it's about making them hard to get to.
Hard to get to, yeah.
Okay.
And you can even monitor them.
Okay.
For changes in voltage or signal.
So if someone's tampering with them,
you'll know.
That's cool. It's like a security system for your cables.
Exactly.
Okay, what about evidence storage?
Oh, evidence storage.
We touched on that before,
Yeah.
but I want to learn more about that.
Okay, so it's all about having a secure system for storing digital evidence.
Right.
Camera footage, logs, hard drive images.
In case you need it for an investigation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about storage.
Right.
It's about protecting that evidence.
Right, so it's not tampered with.
No tampering.
Okay.
No loss.
Yeah.
No unauthorized access.
So you need, like, strict procedures.
Strict procedures, yeah.
Okay.
Chain of custody, all that.
Right.
The storage system itself needs to be secure.
Gotcha.
Auditable.
So you're not just storing it, you're creating a whole system.
The whole system.
Around it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then finally,
Okay.
KPIs.
KPIs, right?
Key performance indicators.
Right, we talked about those.
They're essential
Yeah.
for measuring how well your security is working.
Right, so you're not just guessing.
You got data.
You have the data.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me some examples.
Well, you can track the number of security breaches.
Okay.
How fast you respond to incidents. False alarms, all that stuff.
So you can see, like, where you need to improve.
Exactly. It's about continuous improvement.
Always getting better.
Always getting better.
All right, so this has been a really amazing journey.
Oh, it has?
Into the world of physical security.
There's so much to learn.
We've gone from the perimeter to the server room.
Yeah.
Talked about high tech, low tech.
The human element.
The human element, all of it.
All of it.
But there's still more.
Oh,
We're going to be back in just a minute.
We'll be right back.
To wrap things up.
For the grand finale.
So stay tuned. And we are back for the final part of our deep dive into physical security.
I feel like we've been through boot camp.
Yeah, for real, we've covered so much ground in the last two parts.
Walls, fences, lasers, dogs.
It's a lot to take in, so now it's time to, like, take a step back.
Okay.
See the big picture.
All right.
What are the key takeaways from this chapter?
Well, for me, it's that holistic approach.
Okay.
It's not just about the gadgets and the gizmos. It's about the people, the processes, the technology, all working together.
You can have the best tech in the world.
Yeah.
But if your employees don't know what to do...
Right, or your emergency plan is outdated.
It's all for nothing.
Yeah, it's like a chain, only as strong as the weakest link.
Exactly, and that's why it's so important to figure out your own risks.
Absolutely, like they say, know thyself.
Right, and that starts with that critical path analysis.
Yeah, what's essential to your business?
And where are you vulnerable?
Exactly.
Once you know that.
Then you can build your defenses.
Deterrence, denial, detection, all those things.
Delay, determine, decide, the whole shebang.
And tech plays such a big part in all of that.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing what they can do these days.
Smart cards, cameras with facial recognition.
It's like something out of a movie.
It is.
But don't forget about protecting your physical infrastructure, too.
Right. The servers, the cables, the power.
It's got to be protected.
A fire or a flood can be just as bad as a hacker.
Absolutely. So environmental controls, disaster recovery plans, all critical.
It all comes back to that interconnectedness.
It does.
Every piece matters.
Every single piece.
From the security guard to the placement of a camera.
It all works together.
To create a truly secure environment.
That's the goal.
Now, before we wrap up completely, I've got one last thought-provoking question for you.
Hit me.
So we talked about CPTED.
Yeah, crime prevention through environmental design.
Yeah, and how design can influence behavior.
Fascinating.
It made me think about, like, all the little things in our daily lives that might be affecting our security without us even knowing it.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Like, are your hedges too high?
Oh, yeah, giving someone a place to hide.
Is your front porch well lit?
So you can see who's coming and going.
It's amazing how much we just don't even think about.
We take it for granted.
But hopefully this deep dive has made you a little more aware.
It has. For me, I'm going to be looking at my house with new eyes tonight.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
And the more you know about security, the better you can protect yourself.
Your family, your business.
So keep learning, keep questioning, and stay safe out there.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating topic.
Always something new to explore.
Until then, stay secure.